Get us started. Roll call. Bob Tatoma.
Here.
Lucas.
Here.
Daryl.
Here.
Justin is here. We are missing multiple members tonight, so there would be no voting. We did not have any voting on the agenda, though, anyway, because we have a problem with our minutes. So we've got to sort that out. Which, actually, have you heard from Sean? I haven't actually heard from him.
But he's traveling.
Yeah. He said his hard drive
crashed.
Yeah, so I didn't know if he had talked to you about.
I mean, he can watch all the meetings and give us a thumbnail sketch. I mean, the votes are the most important thing, really.
Yeah. Okay. So dedications, Lucas, you knocked out a couple of them?
Yeah. I haven't been notified of any new ones that are coming up yet.
There are no more. So the Sampson Square is the VFW actually did that.
Yeah.
The dedication. So we are good. I've been talking with Andy, I talked with Carmen, talked with Michael, and they did not get, the VFW and the Post did not get our invites. No, we sent some out to Carmen at least. So when I talked to Michael at the Veterans Day ceremony about that, I was like, look, we're kind of dependent on one person checking their email. So Michael gave me a VFW Post email address.
Okay.
The Legion, I don't think they have one of those, though. So I got to circle back with Carmen during January's PAC meeting when they should be here to see if they have anything like that. And then I'll make sure that gets added. Anything else that you want to talk about with the dedications? Any lessons learned? Anything? Yeah. They went really well.
Yeah.
Jim Gallagher's plaque. Sean is not here with us, so we'll skip that. The Warren Joseph Houghton Civil War marker. This is the one that Andy and we had discussed reaching back out to these people, to this group here in end of winter, beginning of springtime, get that scheduled. The marker is already in place, if I understand.
Oh, yeah, I put it before last Memorial Day.
Yeah, so this is just a dedication ceremony. They can only do it during the week.
That's Andy.
Oh,
so you have to recognize him now.
Yep.
Let's see, gets in stuff on the doorbell for you.
Yeah, so that. Andy, are you with us on Zoom? So just to backfill you, we do not have enough people for a vote, but there's nothing for us to vote on. Sean's computer, as far as the minutes go, Sean's computer crashed on him. So, and he is traveling right now, so he has to basically rebuild the past meeting minutes for us. So we weren't able to get those out ahead of time. So as far as on the agenda, we're down to the Warren Joseph Houghton Civil War marker. Just talking about this. I know during our last meeting, you and I talked about starting to reach out to the group now. Here over winter, so we can maybe try to plan for a springtime ceremony.
I talked to him, I think John Dupree, I think it was, and they said that we would have a meeting probably mid to late January, and that we would start planning their group to come to our town for that ceremony.
So they will have a meeting mid-January or end of January? Okay.
They'll have a meeting similar to what we're having right now, get everybody together. I'm hoping they'll give me a link to it so I can participate as well. If not, he'll be back to me at the end of their meeting to fill me in with what their plans are.
Okay.
He did say last fall that because they all still work, a weekday ceremony probably wasn't going to happen.
Yep. I think I was just saying a weekday as you were coming in, but I realized I got it backwards. So yeah, it will have to be a weekend
If not, and probably figure Saturday morning, prior to Memorial Day, and we'll get it all done before the Memorial Day rush.
Okay. That works. Once you hear that, if we need to have an additional meeting, let me know, Andy, because I want to make sure that we're planning this out. We'll go out to the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We can invite the schools, definitely invite the Post and the Legion, and the select board and everybody like that. So as soon as you hear back that information, let me know.
They did say also that, this is not going to be an all-day thing. It's probably an hour at the very most.
Yep.
Okay. And that we would have a participation from our veterans groups with their group, a sharing ceremony as much as possible.
Yep.
And they would handle for us the printing of the specific invitation. So as soon as they know what range of dates are going to be open to them, I'll come to this group with those dates, and we'll figure it out.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Any questions or anything on this? Good. Hillcrest Cemetery, been talking with Jeff Farrell, and this is quite the hornet's nest, apparently. So Shrewsbury pointed the finger to the state. The state said, I think it was the state said, yeah, we do it. They scheduled a meeting to talk about it, and then realized that they don't do it, and then canceled the meeting. And Jeff is now trying to trace them down to figure out what's going on. Shrewsbury Cemetery Department said that they would support with like a truck or something along those lines if we want to come out and clean it. But I told Jeff, I was like, if it's being paid, it's a state cemetery, it should be clean. Somebody is getting funding for it. They need to clean it. So I'm waiting for Jeff to get back with me. This all kind of fell apart right before the holidays, so I've just been giving it a chance to everybody to get back in and check their email. But I plan on following up with this again with Jeff here at the end of this week or beginning of next week. So
part of the research I'm doing for the rest of the town with regard to dates and stuff for veterans. And also know that our plaques are not correct in Veterans Hall. As I've said in the past, the plaque that's out at Hillcrest Cemetery is wrong also with some dates.
okay.
I don't want to be changing a bronze plaque out there. I don't want to be recreating a bronze plaque out there. I just want it noted that the plaque is wrong. The database I'm generating has the correct dates on it.
Okay. What were you guys saying, Daryl?
So just, bring us up to speed with what you were talking about before, that you were talking about that the state owns it. There is a commission right now that is actually, it's like a fact-finding commission, because it's not just this state cemetery. I talked to a lady that's on the commission. They're looking at like 60,000 people that they're trying to locate. And they asked what I thought, whether it's even feasible for them to be able to do this across the state. What would it actually take? And it's difficult, but it's not impossible. It would probably require things like ground penetrating radar and all that sort of stuff. As far as the cleanup and the maintenance of the cemetery goes, shouldn't be that big of a deal.
No.
But as far as like this commission goes, they're not even just looking at the maintenance of the cemetery. They're looking at expanding on that and actually identifying who's where. And like I said, I think that if I remember right, they were talking about like 60,000 is what they were trying to locate and figure out throughout the state. So there is someone at the state working towards this. I don't know exactly who would be in charge of this. I don't know.
Did you actually ask your rep?
For the person for the commission?
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
get a hold of her and ask exactly, who she is in contact with. I just know that there is a group right now that is actually in the process of trying to figure out what they can do with these state hospital cemeteries that have sort of just been in disrepair and just have not really been overseen for the past 50 years or more. Yeah, not more, yep.
Because I mean, if they've got a commission on it, it would be nice to know that this falls under that commission. And then
We spoke specifically about Hillcrest Cemetery. It is part of that.
yeah, but the maintenance on it as well. Like, does that fall under, or is their commission just for identifying all these unidentified graves? Or
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think it's like, again, maintenance, identifying people. It's a little bit of everything involved because they sort of acknowledge that they have sort of.
So Hillcrest isn't a veteran cemetery. It's a state hospital cemetery that might house that.
It does house veterans. We know that there's some there. Charlie Bolak, back about 20, 25 years ago, took a bunch of volunteers from Grafton and looked at the list of people that they know that are buried there. And they did come up with a bronze plaque that Andy says is probably incorrect with some of these dates, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 15 names there. The last one being buried there in 1972. It's a James E. Day. And it does have a grave marker numbers and up to the side of it. But, I mean, we do have the expert hound dog of finding if someone's a veteran here, and he's really good at locating these people if that is the case.
yeah,
But, yeah, there is a plaque there that's, but it's also one of these things where I don't know how much you want to get involved right there. Because
Gentlemen, realize that Grafton State Hospital is listed under 1900, 1910, 1920, 1930 federal census, okay, partially in 1950. I don't know when it closed, but it lists all of the inmates that were there, okay? There's about 2,000, maybe almost 3,000 names that are on those census lists. It's quite an undertaking to realize that not all of them that died there are buried there because some of the families actually came and took the remains. Okay, so it's a huge list. Just to us, we got about 3,000 for Grafton State Hospital. They had Westboro State Hospital, and everybody else had a state hospital in the state.
yeah.
I could see very easily 60,000 names.
I don't want to get into the whole identifying all the remains. Like, that's an important task.
Yeah.
But I think that that's a little outside of what we're trying to do. What I want to make sure is that the commission is working on who's going to clean it and what is that timeline. That's really all I care about, because if we need to clean it between now and then, okay, now there's some additional questions. Like, you're being paid taxpayer money to do this. So is some of that money going to come to support the town supporting it for now? Things like that.
That's one of those tough questions because, again, it was a hospital. It was run and owned by the state. It's called the Grafton State Hospital.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the municipal lines got, redrawn since the 70s, but technically that cemetery's in Shrewsbury. And it's one of these weird, nobody wants to take the ball and run with it.
Yeah. And so that's all that I care about is
Right.
sorting that out. And like I said, if they're going to fund it, the fund Shrewsbury can clean it, or
Because I've known Grafton has cleaned it before as well. I don't know if that's doesn't want me saying that, but I know Grafton has cleaned it as well. So it's one of those things where it's really ambiguous about who's going to really take ownership of it and have some pride in it.
right. And at the same time, I get it. They've got a lot on their plate, but I mean, we're just talking about cleaning right now.
Right.
That should not be. That doesn't take a long time to decide. And if this commission is working in phases, let's get it cleaned first. Let's get it maintained. We've got things that go on there that we need to be able to support. So that's really all I care about.
Justin,
Yeah.
for the purposes of our committee, soldiers and sailors, all of the veterans are located. They're scattered all over the place. by the markers, but they're all respected and ordered around one stone, around one or under one flagpole with one plaque on the face of that flagpole in one place. That's all we care about for this committee. For cleaning up the entire cemetery, we're probably talking something within a 5-foot circle around that stone for our purposes. For the rest of that cemetery, I don't know what the bounds of it are.
Right. Well, I don't want to make it overly complicated and say, I just need this cleaned. I would rather start off by telling them, clean the cemetery.
Whoever owns it just needs to clean it.
Yeah.
So my question is, does anybody go up there on Grafton Earth Day?
It's been veterans. It's been the gentleman.
92.
Yeah. The two gentlemen, I just forgot their names.
So 2 people go up and clean it.
Yeah. It's been to,
What's the square footage of the property?
they've only cleaned a certain part though, I think.
You know, I wouldn't be able to give you the square footage right off the top of my head.
Smaller than a football field.
Pretty close to a football field. I mean, you know, it's not the exact dimensions of it, but I mean, if you're looking at where the monument is in the center of the cemetery, they have everything numbered by individual numbers as far as the plots go. And right in the center of that cemetery there, I mean, I think it was 1,036 is right there. So, I mean, we might be looking at like 2,000 people. So
in the interim, while we're waiting for someone to figure out who's in charge of what, do we want to consider taking it on as like an event, an appeal for volunteers? And
Yeah. That's just definitely been what we've talked about. I think Holly and I talked about maybe making it, you know, is there an Eagle Scout that needs to do some kind of community cleanup?
Yep.
But, you know, ultimately, it's a state responsibility. And that's the piece that I want to make sure somebody is poking at and doing. You know, I think cleaning it's going to be the easy part. But that commission, I'd just like to know what's their plan, you know, because we're being asked those questions, and I don't want it to be what's going to happen the moment we don't think about it anymore. It's going to fall back into disarray. So
do we want to get David Meridian involved too? Maybe he could push for his end or Senator Moore. I mean,
Senator Moore, you're going to...
We'll coach him.
I would like
I was finding one of his tweets.
if anyone besides Charlie Bolwack has an idea how many veterans we actually should be looking for out there.
So we don't have an idea of how many veterans are buried there. We have an idea of how many people are there.
Yeah.
But as far as like a veterans count, we would have no idea without actually doing the research on each individual person that's buried there. From what I know is that the former clerk, Maureen Clark, she had a connection with someone from the state. And before, it was a gentleman, I don't know his name. Before he retired, he gave a list and a map of all the people that were buried there to the clerk's office. And I know one other person in town that has a complete copy of that list. Exactly where it is in the clerk's office, I don't know. But I would assume that you're probably looking at, like I said, probably close to 2,000 people buried there. Maybe a little bit less, because like right by the monument, I believe it was 1036 right next to it. So that's about 1,000 halfway through. And I mean, there could be still unmarked stuff around. Who knows? And that's part of what this commission is, you know, how good are these records? You know, would we be able to positively identify who everyone is there? And then as far as maintenance goes, again, who's going to be responsible for it? Are they going to, you know, fund a municipality to do it? Are they going to go a contractor? Is the state going to do it?
I mean, Shrewsbury has offered to help. So, like I said, the cleanup for this year, I'm not too worried about, but
It's the extended, like,
it is.
the person that, or the town, whatever entity owns it needs to be doing their due diligence and cleaning it.
Because, and the other reason why I want to try to kind of keep this at arm's length from us is, so what happens if we find something broken? And then, oh, hey, the flagpole's breaking. We've got Memorial Day coming up. Can y'all do something about it? Well, it's not even in our town.
Yeah.
So, so then we have a whole new can of worms. So I'm just trying to. We've identified there is a commission for it. So if you could just reach out, find out. I'd like to know what's going to happen with this.
Yep.
Like, what is their plan? And then that way at least gives us some answers that if we get asked questions, if we find problems. Like I said, in the meantime, we're still doing events there. If something breaks, if something's broken, if something's bad, who do we contact? What's the plan for that?
So on our level, it's parks and cemeteries.
Yes.
We don't even know what it's called on the state level, right?
Right.
So they don't, we don't know if the state has a cemetery department.
So I've tried to look into that a little bit, but there's, as far as the state website goes, it doesn't really point you in a direction as far as like a cemetery department or a state hospital.
Right. It wouldn't show up on veterans. It wouldn't show up on. I wonder if DCR.
Oh, this is past the T.
MCI.
Yeah, it's
I've never been there.
You go past the T state,
Take the left T station.
and then you have that industrial park on your left, Suntech Boulevard, and then you have the old Rapid Job Corps, and the hospital is right here. And that new road bends off to the left where the Shrewsbury fire station is, and it goes all the way to Route 20 by Herbert's Candy Mansion.
Yep.
The cemetery is past that bend about, 700 feet, and it's on the right side of that new Green Street, I think it is, or Pine Street that goes all the way up there.
There's Centec Boulevard and then Green Street.
And so that Green Street goes into Shrewsbury past that bend. It goes straight for about 800 feet. And right before it goes on another bend, that cemetery is on the right-hand side if you were heading from Grafton towards the Heber's Candy Mansion Route 20 area.
Yeah, I'm trying to look to see.
So like I said, unless they redid the boundaries of the 70s, like...
Because when I looked it up, it came up as North Grafton on maps.
So it sounds like your contact at whatever commission. It almost sounds as if they're the only entity looking into this, and that no actual departments at the state level have.
It's quite possible.
It's just some department on an island with no oversight. Trying to figure out, their left hand and their right hand. It's wow.
Yeah, that's what concerns me. And I think if we start asking questions, it's going to put the onus on them. I'm sorry.
We will end up owning it.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to start pushing back on them.
There's one old cemetery.
It's all yours. You can tell him Lucas that has it. He owns it. All right. So yeah, if you could just find that out for us.
I'll get on it.
Thank you. And then is this something that you can reach out to Meridian and?
So I thought I'd send an email to the two of them, and then I'm wondering if we should pay a visit to the state house and just start asking questions.
Yeah, we can do that too. So
Daryl can take us to lunch, and so
Yeah. Anything on the dollar, man.
I will buy you a lot right now. But no, yeah, but that would be a good thing, depending on what more Meridians come back with, if that's something that we can get in front of and talk about. Let's do it.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. Because I guess the next question I would ask. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You were trying to wrap it up. My next question would be, who's in charge of the memorials at the state level? So you come out, you know how you come out of the State House, and then right there is that statue of the 54th Massachusetts,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like, somebody's in charge of that memorial.
It's there. Only just to know.
Add it to the list.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like we have way more questions than we'll ever get answers to. But
And it's been like that ever since I'm been with the town. Like there hasn't really been any concrete direction on where to go. Like I said, there's been volunteers from Grapple that have done stuff up there that that have mowed, that have been back, which I don't even know if they're really allowed to do. And then also, like I said, the Bolak with his volunteers making this plaque, which again, I don't know how they got permission to do any of that. I think that was right before I started. And where do you go from there?
But that's part of the puzzle, because if you went up there and you started cleaning the place up and somebody said, hey, stop, you're not in charge of that. You're right. Who are you? You know, it's like,
Well,
what's your authority? You know, it's like, and then maybe that's how you get somebody's attention is,
I'm thinking more if somebody gets hurt on that, doing that work.
It's entirely possible.
but we're not talking about digging a ditch. We're talking about picking up sticks and mowing the grass, right?
Well, yeah, but how overgrown is it?
It's not terribly overgrown right now. It's more of like a field than it would be a cemetery with some small numbered stones sticking up. The thing you have to worry about when you're in these older areas is that before 1956, there was no requirement to have a vault. Now, this is a state cemetery where people didn't have a lot of money. I can almost guarantee you that none of them had any sort of vault around the casket. So you probably have a plywood box that has been in the ground for 100 years, and you can actually see where the ground has settled in a lot of these places. Now, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I have seen people walk in old cemeteries and disappear. It happens. You have to be very careful when you are in these older areas.
Oh my goodness, we're unlocked.
So we are definitely bringing cameras.
Like I have seen it. It's not, but you wouldn't really think of it. But yeah, when the rule of thumb when you're going into a cemetery is like, anything before 1956, you would bet, or if you were a betting man, you would say that there's a wooden box under there, if anything. That is sort of the way you go about it in Massachusetts.
I mean, it's better if there wasn't a box, because at least the dirt compacted in. With a wooden box, there's nothing. It's just a space for it to fill.
Yes.
When it collapses.
Yes.
All right.
All right, I'm done.
Now I've got zombies and all sorts of things running through
See,
me.
that's what I was thought. We were trying to get it like
Disappear.
body by body.
All right. Any other comments or questions on this? Phil? Perfect. Okay, so going around the room, Bob, do you have anything?
No, nothing to add to the agenda.
Andy?
My thing is, what is our next meeting so that I can figure out how much we want to get done with this other group?
Yep.
And decide whether or not I have to call a quick meeting on the board here.
Yeah, next meeting is March 6th. Daryl, do you have anything?
Nope.
Lucas?
Nope.
Okay, just for future, some of the things that we'll need to start thinking about is what's the next memorial?
Yeah.
We need to get caught up. So we've got Global War on Terror. We have Desert Storm, Desert Shield. So I want to knock out these couple of little things that we have left, and then that's what I think that this committee needs to focus on next. We'll need to make determinations. Do we want to do one memorial, or do we want to just do them all at once and get them all caught up at once? How do we set that up? And Andy, everybody comes up and gives you a name, but that's not always the best way to do this.
Yeah.
So
Jeff Farrell has in the past, I've worked with him to get a list from the state
yeah,
of those that have served. Okay. And I do have a minor list of corrections I'd like to make to some of our other monuments, especially the errors of omission. We have two World War I veterans on our monument at the confluence of 122 and 140 in North Grafton. Two guys are on that plaque are not on our veterans memorial plaque for World War I.
yeah.
Okay, I want to get their names on a corrections list somewhere, and then determine approximately how many were in Desert Storm, Rocky Freedom, all this other stuff to find out if we need individual plaques, or perhaps we just need a column on one plaque for each war it might be cheaper to do it that way. Like, it might be more easily put together than individual plots.
Yeah. And that's what I want to think about is what's the best way to do this. It makes sense with Iraq, Afghanistan, global war on terror to have maybe one, because we all, we did all those at once.
Yeah, OIF should be one, and Desert Storm should be its own.
Yeah, it's kind of my thought with it, because it'd be like combining World War I and World War II. You wouldn't really want to do that. So Desert Storm was something completely different than all the other ones. Yeah. But having a big one with all the other, I don't even know how to. Yeah, that's me and Holly will have to kind of talk through that, because there were so many different operations that we were supporting during that time.
And then I'm new to this. So like, do you add only people that died or anyone?
No, it's anybody that serves that lives in the town.
But served at that time.
Yes. You had to be in during that time.
Yeah. So like, I wouldn't be on it.
You would. When did you get in?
I was in, but I wasn't in Grafton when I deployed.
No, but you live there. You live here now.
Okay. Well, that's what I mean is like, how do we figure that? Like,
I think that's some of the stuff that we'll have to determine how we want.
I would think that I would probably be on Mendon because that's where I lived at the time.
The criteria for the Vietnam Memorial Park, you had to be living in town when you enlisted, or you were already in when the war started, and then you're eligible.
Yeah. So we'll need to.
Yeah. So like,
define that. And then, like I said, how do we get everybody? We've got the list, but how do you verify that list? How do you, can we set up?
We volunteered.
Okay, yeah.
Vet the list.
Yep. But then can we set up something on our website where people can go in and add their name if they're not on the list and things like that? So I think that there's some talent.
Because there's going to be a lot of like, are they vets? And then did they, if it is like how I'm thinking it's going, is that like you need to have been overseas while being a resident of Grafton. You have to verify like, so it's like, how do you figure that out?
Yeah. Okay.
Because you'd have to look at like census data to be like, oh yeah, they were part of the town. And then, yep, here's their orders that show they were deployed. Boom, matches up.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of work.
It is. And so that's why I want to start looking at it this year, new year. I think that should be our goal. And then realize that this is going to go on for, we'll need to keep this open for quite a while. So this will be what we're going to be focused on.
Cleaning the cemetery seems a lot easier, though.
Right? That's why I waited to the end.
Yeah.
So, right. That is all that I have. So we will take a roll call vote to, don't need to do a roll call vote. Thank you. I was just thinking about that. Yeah. So we are now adjourned. I will see everybody at our next meeting in March.